A 48 quilômetros ao norte de Baton Rouge, Louisiana, pertinho do rio Mississippi, fica uma rota de balsa em St. Francisville. Os ingleses estiveram aqui na Guerra Revolucionária. Foi aqui que a plantação Myrtles foi criada em 1796. Hoje é uma pousada famosa por sua trágica história e constantes relatos de que é assombrada.
I definitely believe that it is haunted. I have no doubts.
When I first got the Myrtles and we moved here, we were not at all believers. We thought there's just no way. It's an advertising ploy. It's a hook. But we were here about 3 weeks when the spirits made it known that they were here.
Desde sua inauguração na década de 60, centenas de pessoas falam de aparições estranhas.
I woke at about 3 in the morning to bouncing on the end of my bed. I saw a little girl in a long white dress, long blonde hair, jumping and giggling on my bed. I could not see through her. That's what I would have expected a ghost to look like, that, with big light behind her or see-through transparent, something like that. She looked solid. She looked like somebody's child had gotten loose in the house and found my room and was playing. And I immediately threw my head back in the pillows and tried to convince myself that I was dreaming. Finally it stopped, and it felt like it had been forever, but when I looked up, the clock said 3:07. The little girl was gone, and it had only been 5 minutes. I saw her plain as day. I know it's a strange story, and I'm not out to convince anyone of the story, and I'm sure that some question it, but it's what happened to me, and I'm just here to tell you what happened.
A guia Hester Abbe diz ter tido vários contatos estranhos na casa.
I did not believe in ghosts, but after working here for about 2 weeks, I began to change my mind.
Hester relata a movimentação incomum de objetos.
We put candles in holders, we come back, they're lying on the floor. They're not broken, it's not that they fell. It's as if someone says, I don't want them here, and they place them down.
Um dia, durante um tour, Esther diz ter sentido algo estranho.
I made a point to stand behind the couch in the ladies' parlor when giving tours because I'm out of the way and our guests can easily see the room. I could feel a child pulling on the side of my clothing. Kind of the way a child does when they need to tell you something and you're talking to someone else. Of course, no one was there.
Para muitos, tudo pode ser explicado pelo passado sombrio da casa. A plantação Myrtles era o lar do general David Bradford, o líder da rebelião do uísque de 1796.
General David Bradford fled George Washington's army during the Whiskey Rebellion, came down the Mississippi, and he, on a 640-acre Spanish land grant, built the Myrtles Plantation.
Um juiz da Louisiana, Clark Woodruff, se casou com a filha de Bradford e o casal viveu em Myrtles com os 3 filhos.
Judge Clark Woodruff had a black concubine, a beautiful mulatto girl named Chloe, which was very common. That was just the way things were. There was a great dichotomy between a house servant and a field slave. The house servants, of course, feeling very privileged because they were.
Mas quando Chloe foi pega ouvindo o juiz e a esposa, foi brutalmente castigada.
Her left earlobe was severed. This was the normal punishment for that type of misdemeanor because it would tell other plantation owners that this girl was not to be trusted, that she was caught eavesdropping.
Para evitar a humilhação de ser expulsa da casa e ser escrava no campo, Chloe armou um plano peculiar.
She decided that what she would do to gain favor of the family was that she would take oleander leaves and pour it into a cake batter and make the family sick. She would then know what to give them to make them well. Only Her misguided intentions were that she put too much of the poison in the cake, and the mother and 2 of the children died. And Chloe told the other servants what she had done because she feared for her life, and she thought that the servants would have helped her escape.
Em vez de ajudá-la, os servos a enforcaram numa árvore do quintal.
So that night, Sarah Matilda, the 2 children, and Chloe all lost their lives.
Desde então, hóspedes e funcionários do local alegam ter contato com espíritos desencarnados naquela noite fatídica.
I think the tragedy that surrounds this house has left their spirits somehow unsettled, and so they're in their home. And they're comfortable here, and they're seen looking in the windows and playing. I think they just are here.
I believe the children that guests have said that they still see is Judge Clark Woodruff's daughters that were poisoned by Chloe.
Outra hóspede conta uma experiência surpreendente perto da árvore onde Chloe teria sido enforcada.
All of a sudden, something hit the back of our swing that was a metallic sound. And we were the only people sitting in the swing. And it was almost like a golf club. And we came out of the swing, and there was nothing behind us. We couldn't see anything. We could not imagine what that could be.
Rebecca diz ter tido outro contato inexplicável numa outra visita.
I was sitting on the floor, going through some of my belongings, and I felt a presence come in. Actually, I could see it from my peripheral vision. It did not have a distinct form. I could discern that it was a male presence, and it brushed against me. I could feel it go past me from behind me, and it went into the next room. I mean, I could detect that. And it just gave me the chills. The hair of my neck raised, and I thought, I'm just not going to make a big deal out of this. I'm not going to be fearful.
Mas 2 horas depois, o cheiro de tabaco encheu a sala.
It was like someone had put an ashtray under my nose, and there's no smoking in any of these rooms, and I don't smoke, so I believe that there's a supernatural being or beings here that are very active.
Tita Moss tirou uma foto que não consegue explicar. Após o ceticismo inicial, ela agora cogita que seja algo sobrenatural.
There was this shadowy figure that looked an awful lot like a lady in one of the pictures. And I said, oh, I'm sure it's just a shadow.
As proporções batem com as de uma figura humana, mas o torso parece transparente. A madeira da casa pode ser vista atrás.
When they did a shadow density on the photograph, the 2 children showed up on the roof. So we now have this photograph that has a slave in slave costume and 2 children that came up on the roof. So I would say that that's a pretty suspicious picture.
Tita não foi a única em Myrtles que tirou uma foto misteriosa.
We have drawers filled with pictures from people who come through on tour and people who spend the night and the stuff that they send us after they get home.
Tita Moss acha que os espíritos de Myrtles são bons e estão olhando por sua família.
My son said, Mommy, come get the little girl off the chandelier. So trying not to alarm him, but yet at the same time trying to placate him, I said, Sweetie, tell Mommy, what does she look like? He said, she has on a white dress. And I said, well, what color's her hair? And he said, well, oh, Mommy, can't you see? And at that very moment, I wasn't afraid, but I knew there are spirits here, and they are protecting my children in this home.
There's nothing to fear. They aren't out to harm anyone. They're just here protecting their home and watching the people that come and go and interacting with the ones that they feel some sort of connection to, I think.
I do believe they're real. I do. I felt it and I believe it with my whole heart.